Hey everybody, this is Julie with Crafty Beach. I hope you're doing well today, and if you could hit that subscribe button for me, I'm trying to grow my following, and hit that thumbs up, I would really appreciate it. Today, we're going to be working with these canvases. I picked up this 3-pack at Five Below. They were $5 for 3. The largest is 10 by 10. Then there's an 8 by 8 and a 6 by 6. The first thing I'm going to do is cut the canvases away from the frame. So I use the one that is overlapped. So the two that are on the outside, I do those first because the other is kind of, the top and the bottom is kind of folded underneath. So I'm just using my X-Acto blade on the outside of the staples and cutting and separating that. And I do that on all 4 sides. I just rip off the extra canvas from the staples. I usually just leave the staples in. There's no need to take them out. They don't interfere with the project at all. So today, what I want to do is do sublimation on canvases. And I'm going to do this with a reverse canvas. So I'm going to save those frames, and those are going to be the frame for our art piece. So once you get the canvas off, just go ahead and cut it right on the top corner that would have been there if it was still stretched on the frame. And you don't have to be exact. You've got some wiggle room here when you go ahead and put it together. And I discovered this technique a few weeks ago when I was doing another project, and I'm like, I wonder if I could just sublimate onto canvas. And I did, and then I did something to it, and it made it even better, and it looks fantastic. So today I was in Michael's, and they had these beautiful spring art pictures, tons of pink flowers, words. They're really beautiful, but of course, you know, Michael's is so freaking expensive. And so I'm like, I could totally recreate those. So I had this 3-pack of canvases. So I thought I would make 3 spring signs. This is the first one. I designed this on Canva. I will share a link below. If you want to recreate this, you can use my art. And it says Love Grows Here, and it's got those beautiful watercolor pink flowers on it. So I am just putting it on the front of the canvas. And I'm not doing anything to the canvas, no polycrylic, nothing, just straight canvas. And then I'm using heat tape to tape the sublimation paper to the canvas. I'm gonna put some paper to protect my mat from the sublimation, and then I'm also gonna put a little bit of paper on top to protect the canvas. Then I'm going in with my Cricut Easy Press at 400 for 1 minute. And this is what we have. You're going to be impressed. Look how beautiful that is. It really doesn't need anything, but I am going to go in with the spray acrylic. I have a flat acrylic, and I find that it brings the colors out, makes it more vibrant, and it also probably seals the project, makes it last longer. So I'm just going to go over the canvas with 1 coat of the spray acrylic, and then I am gonna knock my camera down, I guess. Gonna go over it with my heat gun so that it will dry super fast. If you don't have a heat gun, you can always just use a blow dryer. And look how beautiful that is. I'm so impressed. So this is the frame. It's going to go on it on the front instead of on the back. That's how reverse canvas works. But I'm going to want to stain those first. So now it's time for the medium-sized canvas. So same process. Just cutting down the side, trying to separate it. It's okay if you cut into the wood because that's the back. And then if the staples want to come out, you can take them out, but otherwise I just leave them in. So just cutting, separating. Sometimes the corners can be a little tricky. You're just going to throw them away, so it doesn't matter if you rip them weird or anything. So some staples wanted to come out on this one. So if they're sticking out like that, just go ahead and cut them off. Then again, I am cutting off the sides, and it's going to leave me with the 8x8 canvas. And again, I'm protecting my mat with just a piece of copy paper. And I laid down my canvas. I'm cutting out my design, basically just so that I can center it in the canvas properly. I wasn't really sure, so I actually measured a little bit. Then I'm just gonna secure it to the canvas with my heat tape. And I'm gonna sublimate this the same. I'm gonna cover that with copy paper. I'm gonna go in for 400 degrees for 1 minute. And here are our results. I can't believe how easy this is. I've been told that you have to, you know, put laminate on there, you have to put polycrylic on there. None of that is really true. It totally works without it. So on this one, I love how it turned out. I used the same artist on Canva for all three, so they all kind of coordinate with each other, and I will share all three of those files. So again, I'm just going in and sealing it with my spray acrylic, my flat acrylic, and then I'm gonna go in with my dryer and dry that. See how bright like that makes the colors and how it just really, really stands out. So that's gonna be the frame for that one. And then we're gonna go in with the small one. This is 6x6. Kind of how I printed them out is for the 10x10, I did an 8x8. For the 8x8, I did a 6x6. And for the 6x6, this one, I did a 4x4. So there would be 1-inch margins on the side. So again, I am just cutting the canvas off with an X-Acto knife. And this, you know, I have done a reverse canvas from Michael's, and it was in really good condition. These from Five Below were a little nicked up. I had to do a little bit of repair work here in a minute on those frames. So here's our last canvas, just doing a little lint roll to make sure there's nothing on there, cutting out my image on my sublimation paper. And this one just says Bloom, and taping it down with my heat tape, covering it with a sheet of copy paper. And I am gonna go in at 400 degrees for 1 minute. And this is what we have. It turned out so cute. So again, I'm just gonna go in with my spray acrylic, and I am gonna seal that canvas, bring out the colors, dry it with my heat gun. And that is all there is to the canvases. So the next step will be frames. So you really don't have to do much to them. I like to sand them a little bit. I'm going to use this Waverly antique wax as a stain. It goes on really thin, it looks really good, and it dries almost instantly. It's like my favorite product. So I noticed this one's like really roughed up when I try to sand it. And like the wood was splitting on that corner, and I'm like, okay, we're gonna have to do some repair work. So I found some wood glue, and I just put a little bit of wood glue in there. Actually, I put a lot. And I am gonna go in there and just put a clamp on it, let it sit there for a minute, and see if we can repair that frame. I mean, they're under the canvas, so you kind of never know what you're gonna get, but I spent $5 on this project, and I got 3 great pieces of art. So again, I'm just going over it with my sanding block from the Dollar Tree and checking it out. This one split a tiny bit too, so I'm just gonna apply a little bit of wood glue on this one too, clamp it, set it aside. My large one was the only one that did not have any damage. It was really good. So just sanding that down. Since it's the only one without glue, I'm going to go in and start staining this one first. And it doesn't really matter where you start on these. You just got to do the outside, the top, and the inside, because you can see all three of those when you're using it as a frame. There's little notches cut out where it fits together, kind of like a puzzle. And you can get a brush and go down in there with the paint, but I find it doesn't really matter. If it looks a little white, just kind of go over it with the brush. And it takes hardly any of this. Like, my bottle of antique wax is so full because just a tiny bit of this goes a long way. And you can see all that beautiful wood grain through the antique wax, and it just gives a fantastic finish. So I am just giving it an all over. And then I think that one looks pretty good. So just gonna go over it real quick with my heat gun. You honestly don't even have to do this. I kind of just didn't even want to get any on my hands when I go to move it so that I can start working on the second frame. So my repair worked. I didn't let it sit very long, but it was just a small chip and it seemed to close up. So I think it'll be okay. So again, just going over inside, outside, and the top with the Waverly Antique Wax. I thought about painting these different colors, but then I decided to do a set, so I kind of want them all to have the same look. So I am going to do all of the frames the same. And I was super lucky to find all those images from the same artist, so the pink flowers go really well together. But I was so inspired today by the art at Michael's. I cannot believe the prices there. They are outrageous. And, you know, they've gotten rid of their good coupons. And I was like, wow, who's going to buy this stuff? But I'm going to go home and I am going to make it for $5. And that is exactly what I'm doing here. So going in, out, all over that frame. Going to dry this one as well. And we're done with the frames. Okay, so this is how it works. It just goes on the front. So basically you're just stretching your canvas on the back of the frame. And I'm gonna staple the corner. I'm gonna pull it tight, staple the next corner. If you see some fabric that's gonna overhang, just do it, trim now, and then you won't have to do it later. Pull it. I do all four corners first. Do a little trimming if I see a little extra. And just kind of go all around with my staple gun. This is the big one, so I'm using a lot of staples to try to keep it tight. I don't want there to be any gaps between the canvas and the frame. And there she is. Okay, same thing with the medium one. So this is the Spring is Sprung sign, and I'm just trimming it up a little bit. This one is a little smaller, so it's not going to need quite as many staples. So again, all four corners. I just kind of pull it tight with my fingers, but nothing really crazy. And that one's done too. And then I just have the one left, and that is our bloom one. This one I kind of did Rae Dunn theme. I love Rae Dunn, so I totally think it looks like something that would be one of her pieces. And this one I'm going in on the four corners and then one on each side, and it's done. And this is how they turned out. Aren't they so cute? Normally, I use the little sawtooth hangers that you can just hammer in the back, and for some reason, I guess I'm out of them. So I'm like, I need some way to hang these. So I just decided to use a little bit of twine. Just a little bit. I didn't really want it hanging up and looking like a hanging sign, but just enough to actually do the job and hang it. So I just tied knots in it, and I stapled that in on the top. And I did that for all three signs. And are you ready to see the final results? I hung them by my front door, and I am in love. I think they turned out so good. Spring has sprung, bloom, and love grows here. Aren't those adorable? $5 is how much I paid for the frames and the canvases. And I just love how it turned out. What do you guys think? Leave a comment below. Thanks. Have a good one.